Towards where Davy Rogers is up. Rogers swings the left. Davy Rogers! What a goal by Davy Rogers!
Not one person in this stadium seen this coming halfway.
You can see the guards behind the goal at the main stand. They will be investigating Shelburne for robbery. They have absolutely mugged Drogheda United here at Sullivan.
Rovers find the goal! Harry Wood, the jersey's off. 6 minutes to go.
Look at that one! What a goal that is!
Hi folks, and welcome to another LOI Talk. I'm very excited for today's episode. Again, we have full house like last edition, so that's a good sign that we are growing among us, and also on the other side of the screen I see more and more comments, discussion happening in the chat box. So I think we're going in the right direction. So I'm very, very happy with the course of this venture. So I just want to welcome my guests. Cornell, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very, very well, thank you.
Luke, welcome back.
Hello. 2 weeks in a row now.
2 weeks in a row. That's some record. Aaron, you are our special guest. You're very welcome here.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for having me.
And we have Dylan, who is a beginner, and I hope you're not nervous with that.
Yeah, I am a beginner. Yeah, it's my first one, all right.
Okay, so good, so good. So for those who have followed us so far, please award us with a thumbs up. That's how this thing gets distributed in the YouTube sphere. If you know someone who is into the league of Ireland or football as such, please share. We're going to be here for the next 90 minutes. And there's also another button that I would like you to press, which is to subscribe if you haven't done as of yet. So I can see the excitement already in the chat box. John, a big Cork man, saying, looking forward to this. And someone is teasing you, Aaron.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah, that's Kev. That's one of our photographers. So I knew that was coming.
Yeah. Right. So there's a lot to go through because there were plenty of games before we met. And there are matches tomorrow and Saturday. And we have Aaron. So let's kick off. And I'm just going to put some games on the screen, and I would like to get your thoughts. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, let me put the first. The first, to me, was a bit shocking, but maybe you guys were not as shocked as me. Sligo traveling all the way down to Waterford and coming back with a 4-0. I start with Dylan, since you are new. That was your thoughts on this.
I just thought Waterford were shocking from the start. Like, Sligo came into the game kind of like underdogs compared to like Derry and all that. I was shocked myself. I was expecting like a 1-1, 2-1 kind of result, like a tight game, but Sligo dominated in the game.
What about you, Luke? What's your view on this massive result for Sligo?
Can you hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Yeah, because I was keeping an eye on Kerry against Finn Harps, which was another poor result by us. Dylan's laughing away there. But me and John were doing like a watch party kind of thing, so we were keeping an eye on that one, and that really shocked me because like you were just gradually getting the goal notifications in. And like Waterford were really strong when we played them in the first division 2 years ago, and even they were challenging for Europe for the majority last season. So I think for this to be going the way it is now, it's just really disappointing. But just that Cork City result again that we'll get into next time or soon. But it was really poor then, I think, for Waterford overall, yeah.
Just before I pass to you, Aaron, we have a comment here from our good friend. He's also a massive Cork City fan. Dave, crazy game and much needed for us. Like, I'm delighted to see you back, Dave. I haven't seen you in the comments for maybe 2-3 weeks. So I'm so happy to have you here, always saying wise things like this, Cork City. Aaron, your views on Sligo hammering Waterford in their own tempo.
Yeah, well, first of all, I suppose it sounded like it was a miracle the game went ahead in the first place. The pitch, apparently because of the weather, wasn't in great nick. But as you said, 4-0 is unexpected. I don't think anyone saw that coming. But I suppose people are talking about mini leagues now with Cork City, Waterford and Sligo, and Bows were down that end of the table as well. But yeah, I didn't see a 4-0 coming, but Sligo would have been delighted. Waterford obviously at home not so much. That was a continuation of the kind of losing run they've been on, so not ideal from their point of view.
Another comment here, best time of the week, says Ben. And I think, Cornell, I think he's referring to you. It's just to see your expertise. You know, you are already a star in this show. That was your wise views on this fantastic result for Sligo.
My views on this is it was one of the best games that I've ever seen. Sligo Rovers, again, a team that obviously has been in serious trouble, struggle for form, but they've really turned their season around after criticism being aimed at John Russell and the squad and the lack of depth that they had in the team. We're seeing absolute fantastic talents, you know, in the Sligo Rovers team, from Owen Helding to Jay Hackey. You know, this is the very best of Sligo Rovers that we are going to see. And you know, they showed the quality, they showed the class, and they deserve to get the 3 points and the win. And even though, yeah, maybe the pitch could have caused a bit of problems, but it didn't stop Sligo Rovers from getting the 3 points and really showing how fantastic they are of a team despite where they are in.
Okay, another one that I didn't see it coming. Derry coming back with a victory, 3-2. It wasn't easy, but it doesn't matter. It's 3 points in the pocket. Were you also surprised with this result, Aaron?
Yeah, especially I suppose with Galway being at home, because they typically are very good at home, and I know they were. I think were they the last team in the league to be unbeaten up to a certain point a couple of weeks ago. I think it was Shamrock Rovers beat them. So I think, yeah, they'd have been very disappointed with it from a home game point of view, but everyone knows what Derry have as well. So it's not a massive, shocking result.
Luke, can I get your views on this Derry win?
Yeah, I think it was more of like a hammering than the scoreline suggests, because I think Galway didn't get their second goal until like late on in the game, and obviously Derry scored an additional time as well. But I think Derry were cruising really from the start. It was 1-1, I think, and then it was 3-2. But again, just a dominant performance by Derry, who you think would be title challengers at the start of the season. It's not really going their way yet. But you're looking at teams like Drogheda, maybe they might drop off, and even you're looking at Galway as well, just above them, that might not keep the form. But like Galway are a really strong team, and they play dirty football, but they get over the line. So I think this is just another one of those that they need to work on again, maybe a bit more, in how to close out games and win against the bigger teams of the division. Because if you can't do that, you're not going to get anywhere near the top three, really. But yeah, I'd be more first division, unfortunately, now, and probably will be for another few years. Keeping my eye on that. But yeah, at the moment, I wouldn't be too clued in about the Premier Division. But yeah, I think Derry will be happy to get back on form a bit more and start getting close to the number one spot.
Comment here from Dave. Derry, the plastic pitch princess. Any thoughts on this, Dylan?
Right, sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, just if you want to say a couple of words about Dave's comment and also the game.
Since like it was 2-1 to Derry at half time, wasn't it? Yeah. Galway got sent off in the 49th minute, and I think they struggled to keep up after the sending off. So I think Derry took advantage of that and went on to win.
Cornell?
I think fantastic win again for Derry City. They've gone through a lot of serious criticism after, questions were asked about Tian Lynch as a manager and his style of play, and how is the players going to fit into his style of play and how he wants them to play. But for them to win again this game, obviously, I think shows that they are on a very, very good run, and we're seeing the very best of Liam Boyce as well. Good to see him scoring again. Really showing his quality and really showing his class, even though yes, it was a topsy-turvy sort of result. But the thing is that they always find a way, and again, I think it's very interesting to see how like Galway United, a team that were the only team that was actually unbeaten in the League of Ireland this new season, and obviously had their undefeated streak ended. But Derry City always finds a way, and I think if they need to carry on playing the way they're playing, because they are a very, very good side. And, yes, it took them a while for them to get going after their manager, Rudy Hickins, obviously had to leave last season. But I think Lynch, as long as he can know his starting 11, know his style of play, then I think we'll definitely see the very best of Derry City. I mean, yeah, I did expect them to be in and around the title, challenging for the League of Ireland title, but at the moment or whatever, it's very difficult with the other contenders as Shelburne, Shamrock, Rovers, and St. Pat's, and obviously Drogheda. But again, I think this is the start that Derry City needs, and I think they can really crack on with their season.
Matt, you're very welcome to this show. The second time you are here, so we are familiar with the structure. We are now discussing Derry win in Galway.
Yeah, looks a very crazy game. Firstly, apologies for my latest. Just very busy, but yeah, looks like a very crazy game. I can't say I have too much thoughts on it because I didn't actually watch the game for obvious reasons. I was watching Bows. But yeah, that's a fantastic win for Derry. Obviously, they've got 3-1 up. I suppose then Vincent Borden put it back to 3-2. By the looks of it here, just like off the stats sheet, it was fairly kind of even contest. Like, again, I didn't watch the game, so I'm not gonna try pretend like I did, like I know kind of how the game went overall. I thought the goals that Galway conceded. So I thought anyway, and then again, Derry I think took them quite well. So did Galway. I think the goals that Galway scored were quite good, but the third goal was like, just look at the highlights, you're all there to see. Did fatigue creep in? I think so. Unfortunately, look, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately, in terms of, I've also just seen as well. It's unlucky Keane Byrne getting a red card there. Unknown from Bohemians, of course. But yeah, good win for Derry there, and yeah, vital.
I keep the ball with you since next game is one you'll be happy with the result, and I would say not that happy with the performance. And I'm not talking as a Cork fan, but I think both were slightly lucky in this one.
100%. I have written down here. We were lucky. Like, if Cork had strikers, if Cork had fit strikers, they win that game. Simple as that. They win that game easily. I think Kaal Sullivan was one of the main difference makers in that game. I thought he was outstanding. Look, it was a wet pitch, and it was wet for both teams, so that left kind of us passing the ball kind of back and forth, not really advancing play. But I thought overall it was a very poor game. If Cork had strikers, the chances they would have scored, they would have put away hands down. Second half, we were much better, we thought. We actually decided to attack the game and ended up working in the end. And look at it again, we were lucky, but sure, 3 points is 3 points. As for Cork, I'd say they'd actually got quite a bit of confidence during that game because their injury woes. I suppose we might talk about Cork Waterford later, but I suppose that performance from Cork was really good, especially given the circumstances. But Bows, I remember coming away from that thinking, "Jeez, yes, we won," and I was delighted we won. But I was not delighted with the performance, put it that way. And I'm sure Vitor, you would have been watching, you'd agree. Like, Cork were unlucky. They were really, really unlucky, but it was just so many injury problems at the moment, and I think that could be the difference between yous staying up and yous going down, because a lack of squad depth. I know you signed that Dutch lad, I can't remember his name, but yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good.
Dion, you were at the game like myself, and actually you did a very, very nice video that it's available for people to watch in LOI Talk YouTube channel. I suggest you to have a look. It's really captured the atmosphere among the fans, which I think we were fantastic as usual. Dylan, what was your perspective of the game, especially as someone who was at the ground?
I thought City were dominating the whole game. Both struggled to get out of their own half. There was 1 or 2 chances where Both forced to save from Troost at one stage, but Mbang and Kaal were tearing Bo's like midfield and defence apart. And there's one time where Sean Murray went for the cross, hit the crossbar and went over. But that built the atmosphere for the away end. And Bo scoring in the 85th minute, like Nick Manus, we were very unlucky to come out with no points.
I have a comment here from Dave that I would like Coronel, if you don't mind, to comment. He says, injuries have been the story of Cork City this year more than any other LOI team. A healthy squad will be punching near the top.
Yeah, and Dave is right. The injuries haven't really been nice towards Cork City. I think that the biggest one has been the likes of Rory Keating, who's out to 6 to 9 months. You know, that's a massive blow for Cork City. Keating obviously being out to injury as well. Obviously Greg Bolger coming back into the team is a major boost as well. And I did say when I saw that Cork City had Keating and Maguire out, then questions were asked. Well, is Cork City going down? Are they going to be fighting for playoffs and relegation? And then they brought the Dutch striker in to really, I think one striker is not going to really be enough. I think they need to add another striker to back up the likes of Maguire and Keating, because one striker is not going to cut it. I think they need 2 strikers for me. I think Daniels, which Dave has just put down, big up Dave every single day. You know, he's gonna get them the goals and really try and get them up the table. But as I said, one striker is not going to be enough. I think if Cork City had a healthy squad and they were free of injuries and they had Keating and they had Maguire and things, I definitely think they'll be definitely up there this season. But because of the injuries, hasn't been nice to them. Then, of course, you've got Kaal Sullivan, who is the next big thing at the age of 17 years of age, who could be on his way to go to Crystal Palace, which obviously obviously it would be very interesting to see how he fits into Crystal Palace's team and adapts into the Premier League, because to adapt to the Premier League is not easy. But look, Cork City, they're in shambles right now and they're in serious problems. And, you know, the man Clancy's obviously said that if the players don't perform, then they're going to be replaced. And right now, with Daniels in the team now, it is that I think he will get them a lot of goals. He will chip in. Kaal Sullivan, absolutely dominant as they always do. As for, listen, Cork City was so unlucky not to get a draw out of it. Look, listen, Bohemians are are in very good form right now, and you know they're starting to get the wins under their belt and starting to do what they're supposed to do. They're coping very well without Mose, to be honest, because I don't know what possessed Bohemians to go and sign Mose. Mose has to be one of the worst signings that Bohemian has ever had, to be fair. And I don't know what is going on with the Bohemians board and Bohemians themselves as a club on why they're signing him in the first place. They could have signed somebody better than Mose. But look, at the ending of the day, look, you know, Bohemians won the game. Yeah, the performance weren't great. They didn't do what they expect, but they got the job done and they got the 3 points. That's the most important thing.
There's a comment here for you, Aaron. Just I'm not able to pronounce, so I'm not going to read it out loud. What John is saying to you in Gaelic, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I see him there. Yeah.
But let us know your view of this game, which I think was quite disappointing for us, especially given the performance in the first half.
Yeah, I think the lads kind of summed it up well. Bows they were very lucky to come out of that with 3 points. As you said, if we had strikers on the pitch, it's a different game. Should have had a penalty late on as well. We got a free kick. Rio Shipston was kicked, but there's a photo where he's about a foot in the box as he's getting kicked. So should have been a penalty. Would have been very different if that was the case. But I suppose after the game the previous Monday, which was the 4-1 away to Shamrock Rovers, it was definitely a marked improvement from that one. And to come away feeling unlucky is better, I suppose, than coming away having been completely played off the park. So yeah, disappointing one, frustrating one, but one that on another day we would have won and had another 3 points on the board.
An interesting comment here from Aaron Howey, and that's I'm going to address to you. Look, injuries are a big thing, but we knew this was going to happen when you go into the season with such a thin squad. Is there anything that we should point out on, let's say, on Cork City management at this point? Look, like the way they built the squad, that they didn't think it through, that there are 10 months ahead.
I wouldn't be too in the loop about Cork City stuff now. I try to stay away from that crowd. So I wouldn't really know too much about what's going on in that place. No, I've heard John say the likes of that sort of stuff, that injuries have been a problem, that you sort of saw them coming and that maybe they should have signed more. I didn't really know what the transfer window was like. So I couldn't really give an accurate opinion, really. So maybe, I don't know. Like, injuries do happen, of course.
Yeah, I bring the question back to Aaron. I think you are in a better position than anyone else here. So
I think it's fair to say, look, it was a thin squad and you were a few injuries away, but at the same time, the first couple of weeks of the season, we had Kaal Sullivan, Rory Keating, Shawnee Maguire, Greg Bulger, and Malik Dykes-Steele all out injured. Like, it's complete bad luck. You can't. Yes, you can account for an injury here and there and having a bigger squad, but you can't account for just the epitome of bad luck. And that's pretty much what that was, to me anyway.
An interesting result here. St. Patrick's 2, Shamrock 2. Like two of the title contenders, they end up with a draw. I start this time with Dylan. Your thoughts on this draw, the Dublin Derby?
I wasn't really watching the game. I watched the highlights, but I saw Rovers thought they won it in the 86th minute, I think. And before that, Mason Melia scored a brilliant goal to make a 1-0 or 1-1. But unlucky in the end for Rovers. Joe Redmond's last minute header saved the point for Pats in the end. Yeah.
Okay, I pass the ball now to Cornell. I think you're very keen to have some words about this game, because that was one of the games of last weekend.
Yes, it was one of the games that I obviously said we wanted to see the very best of Mason Media, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if Mason Media was actually listening to what I was saying and probably took it on board and probably said, you know what, listen, Cornell, I hear what you're saying, Cornell, and I'll score for you. To be honest, look, it was an open game, Shamrock Rovers, obviously, look, they've been dominating, with 5 wins and 1 draw. Look, at the end of the day, fantastic to see Mason Media score. I did say that I want to see Mason Media show Tottenham why he is going to be a fantastic young striker that Tottenham are going to be looking at next year in 26, and really start showing his quality and showing his class. Joe Redmond header, listen, Joe Redmond is the best centre-back in the League of Ireland this season. And, he's one of the best, and, nobody can't argue with that and say that Joe Redmond is fantastic. Brilliant goal from him. Look, Shamrock Rovers, they've been on a good run from the last of the 5 games that they've been. They've been showing their class and their quality. Graham Burke, again, brilliant striker at the age of 31, still killing it, and I'm very surprised that he's not even in the Irish national team. Josh Houlihan, again, absolutely brilliant again at the back, and outstanding centre back. But I think a point basically was the realistic point, really, to be fair. Even though I would have expected that St. Pat's would have caused an upset or a shock towards Shamrock Rovers. But again, you know, it's very, very difficult to really get bring Shamrock Rovers down because of the players and the squad. Yes, I do worry about the lack of striker option up front, because they're relying on Michael Noonan to score them the goals and really make a huge difference, which he is doing at the moment. But like I said, despite that their player has been is leading to go to Arsenal but can't move there until 2027. But again, it was a very interesting game, fantastic game. I thought Shamrock Rovers played really well. Yeah, St. Pat's dominated the game and tried to cause a lot of problems for them. But look, at the end of the day, look, a draw was the better result, and you know, a point still settles it.
Look, in your estimation, is the draw a good result for both teams, or they would be aiming for the 3 points and they were not happy with outcome?
Like Rovers hadn't lost, I think, in like 40 plus days. I think the last time they lost was Sligo. So I think it was good for St. Pat's to get a draw, because they were kind of favourites coming into this, which I didn't really agree with, to be honest. Like, I think Rovers and Derry and Shelburne were my main three. But like, again, yeah, like it took a 91st minute winner for St. Pat's, but Rovers scored just a few minutes before that, I think. So both sides, Rovers definitely thought they had it, I'd say. But yeah, I think it's great for St. Pat's to be able to just close out those dirty wins, because that's what this league is just sloppy games. And then whoever wins those ends up winning the league, really. Like, there's a lot of time to go still in the league. I'm still not sure of Drogheda and all that stuff now, but maybe they will just last. And I hope they do, because I think they're a good foundation of a team now. Like, to have gone from last year and they get relegated, and then you can see what winning the cup can do just to spur teams on. But I think St. Pat's will be happier with a draw than Shamrock Rovers were. I think Rovers are still that level above other teams, just given the amount of squad depth they have in general. So yeah, I think St. Pat's will be happy enough with the draw, considering that they nearly thought they'd lost the 88th minute. So yeah, I think Rovers will be a bit annoyed that they let it slip away so quickly.
I'm very keen to hear your perspective, Aaron, on these results. Like, would you believe that one of the teams will be happier at the end of the 90 minutes, or the draw was the expected outcome?
Well, I think, as Luke was saying there, Pats will be very happy, because with a few minutes to go, they weren't getting any points. So they'd be very happy with one. Probably overall not as happy, as it's a home game and they've been selling out this year, and they've been trying to make Richmond Park a fortress and all that. So from that point of view, probably not happy. But again, I didn't see it. The only thing I saw from the game was the clip of Joe Redmond's header. But two teams that will both be hoping and expecting to be up there in contention to win the whole thing. So it's understandable that it ended level.
Matt, John is saying Rovers will win the league, and that's just in the context of this game. Can John be that confident?
Yes and no. Like, Rovers are known for their slow starts. Last season, or like the season before, they started very slow. They came out to win the league. If I was a Rovers fan, I'd be extremely disappointed, though. I mean, 2 derby losses, you know, like, they've only won 1 Dublin derby this year, which, if you're going to be winning the leagues, you have to be kind of laying down a marker in terms of Dublin derbies, or like derbies in your area. Unfortunately for Rovers, they've only won 1, which was at home to Pats on match day 5. They lost twice against us. And I think their inability to hold on to a lead when Lee Gray scored in the 88th minute, I think that's just underscores that look at Rovers. Maybe they'll come back, win the league. They have a stacked squad. But right now, I wouldn't be as confident as John will be. They'll probably be up there come the end of the season. They'll probably chase the likes of maybe Shells or I hate to say Shells, but like Shells and Pats. They'll run them close. But I don't think they'll end up winning the league. I actually think, you know, they'll be out of the running before the last match day. Because maybe a good summer window might do them a world of good. We have to wait and see. But for now, I wouldn't be as confident as John.
To be honest,
that's just.
Sorry to interrupt you, Matthew. Obviously, I do agree with you on what you're saying. I'm not saying that Shamrock Rovers cannot be in the title race. And I think I've spoken about this myself. I've said that the only way they're going to win the title is if they get a striker, and with the amount of strikers that they've been linked with, from the likes of Patrick Hobben, which I don't see Patrick Hobben going to Shamrock Rovers, but you never know. Jonathan Ofalabi, a player that obviously has played for Bohemians, who was top scorer 2 seasons ago with 15 goals, level with Jack Moylan, who's now playing for my team, Lincoln City Football Club, who's back from injury in Lincoln City, obviously, who's bossing it right now, which I'm very, very pleased. Big up Jack Moylan every single day. I would like to see Jonathan Ofalabi at Shamrock Rovers, because if obviously Ofalabi goes to Shamrock Rovers, I'm sorry, no disrespect towards the likes of Aaron Greeny. They've only got two free strikers right now. Obviously, Gaffney, who signed a new contract. Aaron Green, obviously, is staying at the club right now. Michael Noonan, 16 years old, who is obviously the next generation, the next big thing. And obviously having scouts from the Serie A like Roma come and scout him. Yeah, obviously, I think he would be fantastic playing in Europe, but obviously still can't move there until he turns 18, right? Obviously, they need a striker. We all know that. We all see that. Ofalabi would be fantastic for Shamrock Rovers. They sign him. I think they've got a chance of basically challenging for the title. And obviously, they are very determined to win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title. And that is what they want. They want to win it so they can, really give that send-off to Stephen Bradley that he deserves. Because right now, he's in a thinking mode right now to say, well, how can they get back to their very best? The only way they can do that is bring a striker in. Maybe they need to bring a winger. Someone like an Asamoah who could basically take the pressure off Jack Byrne, and then obviously look, Danny Mandroya's back. We all know what Danny Mandroya can do in this team, right? But obviously, I wouldn't rule out Shamrock Rovers as yet, because basically, look, I want them to do well this year. I want them to carry on the form that they deserve. But obviously, never say never with Shamrock Rovers going on to win it. Yes, we all know that maybe St. Pat's will possibly go on to win it. Shelburne might go and retain it. We all know that Derry is basically out of the running. But I won't rule them out just yet. But for me, out of the 3 right now, it's St. Pat's and Shamrock Rovers and Shelburne. But for me, only way they'll get that is get a striker. Bring Ofalabi into it. Sorry, Shamrock Rovers are going all the way to win it.
Right, last weekend game is another draw. Drogheda draw at home with Shelbourne 2-2, and that's another game that it was very interesting because both teams are at the top and Drogheda are the underdogs of this season. So I'll start with Luke.
Yeah, I was just speaking there about whether Drogheda will continue with this form. I'm not in the loop too much about the Premier Division, so I don't know how teams like this normally do, who wouldn't be considered favourites. But I think for that to have happened to them, I think that they are getting the results. Me and John, who was in the comments there, we were watching it there on Space, just keeping an eye on it. And Shelburne had so many chances. Shelburne had so many chances during the game and just couldn't take them. Like, there was a shot right in front of goal. I forget who took it, but like it just went flying over the bar. And then Drogheda, they took the chances that came to them. I don't think they had as many shots, but like when you take the chances that come to you, like sure, you're going to do grand then. But like if Shelburne had taken half the chances that came to them, I think they would have won comfortably enough. But yeah, like Drogheda were able to close out the game anyway. It took an own goal from Shelburne for them to get their second goal, but sure, it doesn't matter how they come once they cross the line, really. So yeah, I think Drogheda will be very happy with how the season's going so far. Still top of the table. Just 1 loss and then 5 wins and 5 draws. And like if the draws are against big teams like we've just seen there against Shelburne, like you won't even mind them. But I think they just need, they're not too many draws because you can slip off a bit. But no, I mean they're a point clear now from St. Pat's and 2 from Rovers. So yeah, I think they'll be happy enough again.
Dion, now that you change outfit right on time, Dave is saying, I appreciate Dion rocking the CFC training jacket and the home jersey. He is a compliment for you. You are on mute. You are not able to talk.
He can't.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll pass to Matt then.
Thanks. Yeah, the live game this week, or sorry, should I say on Friday? The live game on Virgin. Yeah, look, Drogs will be very happy, I thought. One thing that I seem to notice with Shelbourne, though, is in the games in which they're drawing, or like especially when they're drawing, they're dominating possession, they're dominating shots, but they're getting very few on target. That now I'm just reading out off a stat sheet. I didn't watch the game again because I was watching Bose, but what I notice is they just can't seem to finish. And then when they do finish, they just kind of part like the Red Sea, essentially. Drogheda will be very happy, obviously. They're still top of the league. No, I didn't foresee this coming. I don't know if anybody here foreseen this coming, especially considering they have European football coming up soon. They're probably preparing for that. But I think, like, generally speaking, Shells will be very fuming with that. They dominated the game in terms of like shots, possession, like the stat sheets, all that kind of reliable, dominated the game kind of stuff. Unfortunately, the only stat that really matters at the end of the season is how many goals you score, and if you score more than the opposition team. And Shelbourne will be fuming because, again, they dominated the game. I think there was like 75% possession or something, and we'll talk about later, obviously, against Galway. They dominated those games, but they drew them. And that would worry me as a Shells fan right now in terms of keeping the title on Talka's side at the moment. I wouldn't exactly be ruling Shelbourne out of the title picture yet. There's still some great players in there, likes of Cameron Ledwidge, likes of Sean Boyd, JJ Lunny, Wipo Debeku. I'm really disappointed by him in terms of I've seen him play and he can't finish. I'm just going to be blunt. He can't finish. He needs to work on that, and I'm sure once he does finish, he's getting lots of chances on goal. I always remember the first game of the season. He looked like he was playing with his boots on the wrong feet. But once he works on his finishing, I'm telling you, he'll be brilliant. And Shells will be looking like a right dangerous team. But at the moment, Odebeku, look, I know he scored against us, which just tells more about us than it does about him. I feel like he can't finish. And I think Shells need to be far more clinical there to keep their title alive. Like, again, I would be ruling them out. Like, I'd have the exact same three teams as Cornell in terms of a title challenge. But at the moment, from a Shell's point of view, I'd be a bit worried. But from a Jog's point of view, I'd still be fairly happy and cautiously optimistic. So that's it, really.
Aaron, after securing a draw against the current champions, how far do you think Drogheda can go in this current season?
I've no idea, to be honest with you. I'm loving the fact that they're top and they're holding on top, because it's nice to see a different club on top than your Shamrock, Rovers, Shells, as it has been the last couple of years. From a Cork City point of view, we played the two of them and drew with both of them. Probably should have beaten Drogheda at home. So, to be fair, Drogheda have been doing very well. They're obviously cup holders as well, so there's obvious talent there, and there's some really good players. So, can they hold on for the season? I have no idea. I'd love to see them hold on as long as possible and make it interesting. We all saw how tight the league table was for the majority of the season last year. So if it stays the same this year, it'll be entertaining for everybody. But I don't know if they believe they can win it or not. But I know that the likes of Shelburne, Shamrock, Rovers, Pats, I think they're all kind of within 2 points of them. So they'll all be trying to catch them for as long as they are top.
Cornell, we have been following on a weekly basis Drogheda. We are always impressed with their performance, their effort, their attitude on the pitch, and that's reflected on the results. And I think this one is not an exception.
No, I mean, look, both teams held out for a goalless draw. Drogheda has been in very, very good form this season because of the likes of quality players like Dara Markey, who's been the creator of the team. Warren Davis, obviously a player who's got 5 goals this season in 10 matches this season. absolutely one to watch this season, and I think he'll go a very, very long way. Yes, they've got a few injuries in their team, which basically hasn't really helped. But what they have done, they've shown the quality and the class that they can be as a team. And look, listen, I think, look, Shelburne, look, their request is to retain the League of Ireland title. Their request is to show that they can do what they say they can do. Look, I highly rate Damien Duff as a manager, and this is the reason why they are where they are, because of the winning mentality and the style of play. That we are seeing the very best of Shelburne. Odebeko, yeah, I know he's been getting criticized this season, obviously because of his shooting and things, and maybe some will say that he's not good enough. But look, give Odebeko a couple of games, yeah, and he will start scoring goals, right? With all due respect, look, I even cried out and I said, look, I want to see Boyd and Odebeko playing up front together. No disrespect towards Harry Wood. We all know how fantastic Harry Wood is. John Martin is a big blow for them. Especially up front. And I think when they have that full fit team, then I think they are a definite handful. Yes, of course, I think Odebeko could do better when he goes in front of goal. Don't keep being too hesitant going forward. Keep being confident and being positive when going forward. And yeah, of course, you expect a striker like Odebeko to score goals, to do what he is expected to do. Yes, to come from West Ham in the Premier League and come into the League of Ireland is very, very difficult, because it's the football in the League of Ireland is much more different. It's much more trickier, and it's much more much more harder. But again, I think the way that he's adapted to his play, I think, is fantastic. Look, the result, obviously, Shelburne were dominant, which they were. They dominated the game. They showed Drogheda what they are about as a team. But again, it's clear-cut chances that weren't being created. And that's the reason why the draw was the right outcome. But again, I think we still, if I was Damien Duff right now, and I'm sure he's probably, listening right now, I would like to see Odebeko play again in the next game. I would like him to get more on the goals. I would like him to be more confident going forward, which I know he can be. And his pace and his runs can be obviously devastating to watch, but I want him to be not to be too hesitant going forward. I want him to be confident scoring goals. Really show Damien Duff that he wants to keep his place in the starting 11. Show Damien Duff that he can score goals, he can make things happen, and link up with Harry Wood, link up with George Boyd. I mean, I'm disappointed that Boyd is on the bench. I would like to see Boyd and Odebeko play together as both strikers and get on the goals, because I think that's what we want to see. Yes, of course, Harry Wood, obviously next gen. I think he's got everything in the palm of his hand. But honestly, the draw was the good outcome. But obviously, Drogheda held on. Conor Keeley again, best centre back in the League of Ireland this season, and obviously he's played a lot better at Drogheda than how he was at St. Pat's. He wasn't very good at St. Pat's, and St. Pat's didn't get the best out of him. But again, look, draw was the fantastic outcome, and both teams get a point. But obviously, I think this is a 2 points dropped for Shelburne, and I think they'll be looking at this game and saying, well, why didn't they go on and get the winner? But listen, Odebeko, everyone's got their own opinions about Odebeko. I think let him try and get the goals again. I would like to see him play the next game, get on the goals, be confident, not too hesitant going forward, and just take one step at a time. But he's hungry for more, and we're ready to see the very best out of him.
So there's a question for all of us from John, and I kinda predict who is going to win, given the number of Cork City fans in this show. But let's go one by one. I'm going to start, and I think I'm not going to surprise anyone with my answer. Kaal or Sullivan or Mason Media. Obviously, Kaal or Sullivan. Cornell?
This is a very, 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 very tough battle between two good players, because these two young players are absolutely fantastic, and they are the next generation to really step up and really show what they can really do. Both players are really are fantastic at what they do. Kaal Sullivan, fantastic at the age of 17. He's like the new young version of Phil Foden. Mason Media, obviously at the age of 17, going on to 18 years old. You know, this is a player that can really go to the next level and really become one of the best in the League of Ireland. And I think there's more to come from Mason Media. So I think if anybody was to ask that question and say who do I think could win out of that, it has to be Kaal Sullivan for me, because Kaal Sullivan is just an absolute quality of a class player, and I think there's just no stopping him. And I think if Crystal Palace are looking at him right now and they want to really try and buy him for the academy and try and get him into their first team for the Premier League, I think he's going to be an absolute handful. And I think everybody will be looking at Kaal Sullivan and saying in a couple more years, this player like Kaal Sullivan is the future right now, and is the next gen. But listen, Mason Media needs to start scoring more goals. He needs to keep on doing what he does best. Don't just play for the playing's sake. Yes, I know. Yes, there's no Kinner in the team, which pretty sucks for them. But we want to see more and more of the best of Mason Media. I want to see him scoring more goals. I want to see him doing what he does best, and really showing not just only St. Patrick's as well that he can score goals. I want him to show Spurs why he wants to be in the first team, why he wants to be in Ange Postecoglou's plans if Ange is still there and still in a job at Spurs.
Aaron, is it worth asking you that question, or do I know the answer?
Kaal Sullivan, we've all been talking about him for the last 12 months, and the Premier Division didn't get to see him because it was the first division, but everybody's seeing him now and everyone knows how good he is. So yeah, Kaal Sullivan, no question.
Same question for Diwan and same expectation, but just for the sake of being polite, I want to ask.
Yeah, Kaal Sullivan, if Mason Melia, oh Jesus, sorry about that, lads. If Mason Melia costs 1 million, Kaal costs 10. Oh my Jesus Christ! But yeah, I reckon Kaal is the best youngster in the league. Like he's up there with Warren Davies, Mason Melia, as you said. But Kaal is just Kaal. He's unbelievable.
Luke, would you share the same views as your neighbours?
Yeah, I would, to be fair. I think Kaal got nearly 10 goals less in Premier or First Division, and I think he got like goal of the year or something, or was it goal of the month at some stage. So he's an unreal player. I don't know much about Mason, to be honest. So it's just on that basis that I have to give it to Kaal there.
Yeah, Matt, would you agree with that, or would you challenge our view?
From what little I've seen of them, what I've seen mostly is Kaal Sullivan playing more as a winger now. I don't watch Cork City on a regular basis, so Aaron, Dylan, Luke can feel free to correct me on that. But I'd say fucking right now, apologies for language. I'd say right now at the moment it's a difficult one. Melia, I think he needs to start scoring more goals because he's kind of being relied upon by Pats at the moment, which is very big pressure to put on an 18-year-old. Kaal Sullivan's also under a lot of pressure, obviously, with the amount of injuries that Cork have, that Cork City have. He's under a lot of pressure. But I'd say just for now, Kaal Sullivan maybe just about. But both are exceptional talents, and we're so lucky to have them. So I'd say, as Rio Ferdinand once said, people try to compare them, just enjoy them while you can, because they won't be around forever.
Right, just before we move to our interview with Aaron, there's a comment here for you, Cornell, that I don't fully understand. Forgive me for my ignorance. I don't know what is it, LMPS? Can someone help me? Are your LMPS going to help Wrexham get promoted? the last game of the EFL League One season. What is it? LMPS? Can you help me?
EFL League One. Obviously, I support Lincoln City Football Club. Big up Lincoln City Football Club every single day. Obviously, to answer Dave's question, Lincoln City Football Club is not helping Wrexham. Basically, get Wrexham promoted, because basically, come the final game of the season, Lincoln City is going to beat Wrexham, and they're going to put Wrexham out of their misery, and we're going to make sure that Wrexham, we spoil the party, and their party will be destroyed, because us Lincoln City, obviously, we're 11th in League One. Obviously, Lincoln City are in a mid-table position. So, to answer Dave's question, we are not helping Wrexham get promoted at all. Sorry, Wrexham, you're going to lose to Lincoln City on the final day of the season, and Lincoln City next season is coming for the playoffs next season. Believe me.
Good. So let's move to our Aaron interview. So we can do the same format as last week. So we go one by one. I'm going to start, lads, if you don't mind. So first one I have here, Aaron, is what's the social media role in the current day and age for football and sports?
I think you're kind of pretty much the mouthpiece for the club. Like, it's where everybody gets their information. I like to think we do a good job on social media. Like, we've got a really good following, probably up there with the biggest in the league. If you take Shamrock Rovers TikTok out of it, I think we actually are the biggest. But it is very important. Look, everyone, 15 years ago, people would go to club websites and forums and stuff, whereas now it's a quick glance on social media. So it's kind of, as I said, the main source of news, information, content for a football club fan, and not just for us, but for any football club or the league accounts as well. So that's kind of where we lie at the minute.
Cornell, maybe you?
Yeah. What basically got you into doing social media for the League of Ireland, and what really inspired you to really have such a extreme following for the League of Ireland and supporting the local club in the League of Ireland, if I may ask you, Aaron?
Well, I was always a Cork City fan. My first City game was in 2005. It was actually the night City won the league. So that was the first game I went to. So I've been a fan ever since. I'm also a big social media user. Graphic design was kind of what I was doing at the time, and learning how all that worked. So naturally, I'd make Cork City graphic or a League of Ireland graphic, which kind of caught the attention of people in the league, in Cork City at the time. And it kind of just naturally evolved into me doing stuff for the club, and then eventually me going in as an employee at the club and running the social medias and doing all the marketing stuff. So that's kind of how it all came about.
And then also my other question to you as well, Aaron, do you think that the League of Ireland has become more popular than other leagues, or do you think the League of Ireland is still the same old? Because I think since its popularity, obviously, the League of Ireland as a league has really grown into getting a lot of fans that have never been a fan of the League of Ireland watching the League of Ireland. Do you think that the League of Ireland is really growing its popularity now?
Yeah, it's exploded, to be honest. Like, if you look at where it is now compared to 5 years ago, it's night and day difference. And if you went back again 5 years before that, where we were 5 years ago was impressive. So it's grown so much. Probably weirdly enough, and probably weird to say it, but it makes sense if you step back and think about it. A lot of that, I think, is due to COVID and due to when that happened, Watch LOI kicked off, which evolved into LOI TV, and there was nothing else on really. So a lot of people watched their clubs, other clubs, and naturally went off to follow clubs on social media, and then ended up going to games. I'm laughing at Luke's hats. He's gone from his Cork City hat to his Kerry hat. But naturally started going to games then, which has added to where we are now. But look, if you look at the league now compared to where it was 1, 2, 5, 10 years ago, it's exploded in popularity. And I think it's going to keep growing. You hear people talk about the need to grow facilities and get bigger stadiums, and they're 100% right. Stadiums are sold out every week, and that's exactly what we want. Like you couldn't have dreamt of that 10 years ago, so it's brilliant to see now.
No further questions, Victor.
No worries. Okay, I'm gonna throw one before I pass to Matt. Like, I'm still on the social media sphere. So, how do you handle, Aaron, like nasty comments on the internet?
I don't really. you can't really, like, it's because of the nature of the industry. It's very like driven by emotion. So if you lose to a rival, if you lose any match, you're not going to have people saying, "Oh, that's okay." You know, people are going to be annoyed. Dylan's background is getting better and better as the show goes on. But yeah, look, it's something that, not that it's encouraged, but it's part of it. If comments, you know, overstep and they get too offensive or personal or whatever, then obviously, look, you just get blocked, because there has to be a limit to what you can tolerate and allow to be visible and associated with the club as well. But it's just kind of, it's part of it. Look, as I said, it's built on emotion. You look at a match on a Friday night, people are celebrating, booing, cheering. They do the same online. So that's kind of part of what you're going to expect.
Yeah, plus there's a lot of bots now, so you never know whether the real person or not. So
that's the thing we have now at the minute, is it's bots trying to sell tickets and trying to, you know, tout tickets, saying, "Oh, I have 4 tickets for sale." That's kind of something we have to look out for. But with the social media platforms now, you can take care of all that and have keywords that, you know, someone gets banned if they use them. So it's easy to take care of.
There's a comment here from Dave. Love seeing the League of Ireland pushing and creating content. Hope to see it push it overseas. Thanks for the comment, Dave. Maybe your turn, Matt, to throw a question.
Obrigado. Firstly, that's Portuguese for thank you, by the way. I have a couple of questions here real quick. 2 are kind of connected, and then one's kind of breaks away. So the first one is, has there been an increase in workload since during your time due to the growth of the league? Secondly is, how much does each kind of match day or like every day working vary day to day? And my third is working in League of Ireland club media an easy or difficult industry to break into?
Well, first of all, anyway, it's the workload. There is a fairly significant workload, because not just at our club, but at all the other clubs in the League of Ireland, the workforce, I suppose, the team is very small. So my main focus is the social media and the content and stuff like that, but I do a lot across merchandise and other aspects of the club, as does everyone else at the club as well. Everybody has a lot of different roles, and that's just not a Cork City thing. That's just kind of how it works at every club. On a match day, every day, to be honest, every day is different. On a match day, it's kind of easier because you have your routine, you know what needs to be done. But the rest of the week then can be split across. Look, there's stuff like press conferences, other meetings, marketing meetings, sponsor meetings, and stuff like that. So it does get a bit chaotic, but again, it's enjoyable. And it's probably easier. It was probably easier when I broke in to try and, you know, get involved in a club, because at the time, not that there wasn't a lot of it being done, but you look at the work clubs are doing now compared to then, there's a lot more being done now. So a lot of the roles are either filled, or there's a lot of volunteers, which is the case at a lot of clubs, working in doing that. But one thing that does exist now that didn't exist as much back then is you've got fan pages who aren't just fan pages, but are creating content about the league. Like there's LOI Talk, there's other Irish Football Fan TV has been doing it for years. Paul Nealon at Irish Football Fan TV, I actually did some work for him before I ended up at Cork City. So whereas back then there might have been a handful of pages or accounts like that, there are hundreds now. Like there's probably 30 or 40 Cork City fan pages alone, making their own graphics and doing stuff like that. So it's probably easier to break into the industry, if that makes sense, because you don't have to necessarily do it for a club. But it's probably a little bit more difficult now to end up at a club, because clubs are trying to professionalize it and centralize it a bit more, which is good as well, because that's a sign of growth, that now jobs are available, or now people are doing it as a profession, which wasn't the case 10 years ago.
There's a question here coming from Dave on the comments. He's asking, is your focus, Aaron, more on serving Cork City fans, the League of Ireland, or expanding the reach across Ireland and elsewhere?
Luke's background, I can already tell what that is. So in terms of our content, I would say probably 80-90% of it is for Cork City fans, because they're following the Cork City pages. They're likely to be a Cork City fan. We like to think that it's good enough content that other people can read it who are potentially not Cork City fans but have an interest in the League of Ireland, and we can convert them to Cork City fans. But it's not just a case of, we want people in Cork or in Ireland to follow us. There's a lot of followers, particularly on our TikTok. We kind of just post complete joke content on TikTok, and we've got like 150,000 followers, not many of which are from Ireland. There's a lot from the US and Spain, because we kind of had a bit of a back and forth with Barcelona fans and Real Madrid fans. So we have seen that convert into jersey sales and merchandise sales, because if you looked at the amount of orders that we send to the States, the UK, Spain, Portugal, all around Europe, you'd be very pleasantly surprised at just how far the reach of Cork City FC goes. But that's something we'll never be satisfied with it, if you know what I mean. Like, there's no such thing as being able to look at it and say, yeah, we're big enough now, or we're doing enough now. You always want to do more, no matter what. If it got to a point where, we were doing so much that we needed to expand the team and have more staff and produce more jerseys and more merchandise and sell it, brilliant. That's a great complaint to have, and that's something that we'd, along with every other club, want to get to.
Look, before you ask your question, I think I would like to react to this. You will know about relegation soon, when Kerry FC get relegated to the third division.
We'll beat you to it, don't worry.
I think there's 3 years until relegation starts, so at least we've some leeway. So at least even if we're bottom for another 3 years, it doesn't really matter.
Is that confirmed, or is still a rumor?
I don't really know, because they have like 70 applicants, so I suppose they need to start that stuff first, and then they can decide about relegation. I don't know. I love Dylan's background as well.
Okay.
Basically, for those who might be wondering, there's a bit of an in-joke that Luke is the new Kerry mascot. So that's a bit of an in-joke we're having. So
I can actually confirm that, because I've been down to Mount Park plenty of times and I've seen Luke getting into the suit. So that I can confirm that there for you.
It's not fake news.
There you go, like.
Look, it's your turn now to
Sorry?
by your questions at Aaron, yeah?
Yeah. As you know, like, I've been media myself, and I've asked you for help on a number of occasions. Just, do you have any advice for people like starting to get into media? Or like, what's the best way to go about it? Like, obviously, I've been involved with Kerry FC now with Ivan and the lads, but just outside of that, just to get more experience, what would you say the best way to go about it is?
Well, that's the thing, kind of, you're doing it the right way, if there is a right way. Match photography, helping out here and there with Ivan's a brilliant example, because he's obviously doing the job, but he can sort of take you under his wing and kind of show you the ropes really of how it works. But yeah, the main thing I suppose would just be, don't be discouraged if you're not working at a club or whatever. Make your content, put it out there. People will see it. The more you make it, the better you'll get. And then when an opportunity for a club to work at a club does come along, you've been doing it for long enough, and it's at a certain standard where a club will look at it and say, yeah, this guy will be, or this girl will be an asset to the club. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's just a case of stick with it. I did it. Be honest, I was doing it when I was doing it for Paul Nealon and doing it for my own socials. It was never really a case of I'll work at Cork City, because Declan Carey was doing it at the time, and he was really good at what he did. So it was never a case of I'm going to dethrone Declan Carey and take his gig. But I was lucky that it kind of fell that way and that I ended up at City. But yeah, it's just kind of, I suppose, proves that an opportunity can present itself. So people should stick with it.
For your graphics, I think you've some of the best graphics in the league, to be honest, just looking, especially compared to what we have around First Division, really. But where would you get the inspiration, like that Bohemians one and just the other ones that you used? Like, where does it all stem from?
The Bohemians one, I suppose, first of all, I wanted to do, we've done kind of themed ones like that, like we've had Oppenheimer ones, Minecraft movie recently, But I've always wanted to do a Bohemian Rhapsody one. We were kind of held back, I suppose, by the fact that we were in the first division last year and didn't play Bows. But then this year we were playing Bows, and we obviously have a player called Freddie, so he kind of nicely filled in for Freddie Mercury on the graphic. But stuff like that, to be honest, there's no such, like, I don't have a website that I go to for inspiration. I just kind of see something and it could be like, oh, I can copy that, or I can do something similar to that. But with that stuff, like the movie stuff, the Minecraft stuff, Oppenheimer at the time, it's just kind of, if something is popular, you know, in media at the time, or kind of a trend, then I'll try to get involved in it some way. Like, for example, we have 3 Dutch players this year and a lot of Dutch fans, and Saturday 26th is King's Day in the Netherlands, and we have a match on Saturday, so I'm probably going to do something Dutch related with our 3 players, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of stuff like that. You can look around, see what's going on around the world, and take inspiration naturally from stuff like that.
And that brings me on to my next question there, the comment there. You designed the jerseys last year. Just what was that like? And now you have your own brand. Like, how do you see the way forward for Cork City as their own brand and just the future of the club in general?
Yeah, so I suppose the one thing people associate with Cork City over the years is lovely jerseys, like the one Dylan is wearing there. And so I've kind of been involved in the design process. Look, I told you Luke is a big Cork City fan, but he just won't admit it. I've kind of been involved in the design process for the jerseys for the last, and that one, pretty much since I came in. But last year was the first, 2024, I suppose, was the first one that I did myself, where it was kind of, I was given free reign, do what you want. So we did the home jersey, I probably have it here somewhere, which was similar to some of the 90s jerseys. We moved back to white. We had the green and red collar and centered crests and stuff like that, just to keep it kind of traditional. And then for the away jersey, the blue and pink, which has no correlation to Cork City at all, but it worked well. I thought it looked cool, so we did it, and it became one of our best selling away jerseys ever. So kind of from that, then, to be honest, from the day Dermot came in the door, one of the things he was looking at, Dermot Usher is the club owner, one of the things he was looking at was making the merchandise ourselves. And when we met, myself and Dermot, now the last 2 years, went to Munich to meet potential suppliers and stuff like that. And when we met them and saw samples of what we could do and what they could make for us, then that was a decision made. So we kind of have full creative control over everything. If you look at our stuff this year, the training range, Dylan was wearing the jacket earlier on, or the half zip, and the kits, like, I think they're nice. They're not incredible, but I think the thing for me this year was get the quality right. And if the quality is right and people know we're going to be making good gear, then future jerseys can be incredible. We literally just signed off on our 2026 range, from home, away, third, goalkeeper jerseys, training wear, everything. And it's so good. I genuinely cannot wait to get it out. But that was the main thing for us. Obviously, the price is considerably cheaper than going to an Adidas or a Nike or whatever. But from my point of view, having creative control over pretty much every aspect of what we're making was huge. And people were skeptical about it when we announced we were doing it. And to be honest, rightly so, because it's a big risk. But I think when we brought the gear out, we had issues with sizing. That's well documented. People kind of had to go a size or two up. But that's kind of been the feedback. Negative wise, everyone else is saying, you know, the quality is incredible. It's really good. It's really comfortable, which is good. So I think we proved it was the right decision. And having seen the 2026 stuff and the stuff that's still to come even this year, I can't wait to launch them, to be honest.
I'll just have one more and then I'll let the other lads talk. But just for the general, like, your favourite moment or your favourite thing about being a media officer for League One clubs. Like, obviously you're travelling the country, but that might get a bit tiresome, so there's positive and negatives, I suppose, with that. But what would be your favourite thing about doing the whole job?
I suppose as a Cork City fan, my favourite thing is the fact that no matter what, I'll be at the Cork City match. You know, people will miss games here and there for work, whereas my work is the Cork City match, so like I don't have an excuse not to be there. As you said, there is a lot of travel. Everything I do for the men's team, I do for the women's team as well, who play on Saturdays. So there is a lot of travel involved in that. For example, now last week we were obviously in Dublin on Monday, Dublin on Friday, and the women's team then were in Dublin on Saturday as well. I didn't travel to that just because I was sick of that motorway, to be honest. So I covered it from LOI TV. But even that, being able to do that, having LOI TV there, wouldn't have been the case 5 years ago. So being able to not travel to a game but still do my job from my desk here and watch the women's game is, again, night and day different to how it was. But yeah, no, overall, it's, I suppose the best part of it is getting to be at every game, home and away, and guarantee that I get to watch Cork City. I don't have to worry about fighting for tickets or trying to get a ticket in the allocation, because I'll be there, albeit in the home end and trying to be professional, but I still get to be there.
That's all from me. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, before I move to Dion, a question from the chat box from Aaron. Is it true we have a cap jersey for jersey this season?
It might be, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of months.
Okay, quite keen to see that. Dion, your turn, sir.
Hi, Aaron. I was watching your recent vlog on YouTube earlier, and after traveling up and down from Dublin, I was wondering, like, do you get frustrated, like, over all the travel, especially because of the promotion this year?
Not really, because look, I'm in a couple of years into it now, so I'm used to it, and at the same time, I knew what I was signing up for. You know what I mean? I suppose the one thing I will say about when we were in the first division is we didn't really have to go far at all. Like, we had Kerry, Cove, Wexford, Waterford, Limerick. Like, that was really handy. Once or twice then had to go to Donegal, whereas this year it's Sligo, Derry, Dundalk. Well, not Dundalk this year, which is great. But Drogheda and stuff like that. So a lot more traveling. But to be honest, even when we were in the first division, as I said, I still would have been traveling with the women's team. So there was still Sligos and Dublins pretty much every week, every second week. So it doesn't really frustrate me unless I'm driving myself, at which point I just want to go to sleep. But for the most part, I'm used to it, and it's just part of the job.
Yeah, I have one more question as well. Like, I always see you at the front of the shed every game, but do you think the atmosphere in the shed affects the players on the pitch, especially after the Waterford game, winning the penalty in the 8th minute?
100%. What people, I think, don't realise about the shed is when the shed is full, particularly before kickoff, because it's directly above the dressing room, and like, you can hear everything down below. Like, there was times, I know there's been work done in the dressing room now, but I remember, I think it was 2 years, we were in the first division the last time, the night we won the league against Wexford. Colin Healy didn't even have to do a team talk beforehand because you couldn't hear anything in the dressing room. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, all you could hear was the shed, and probably some smoke seeping through the cracks as well. But yeah, no, the shed's incredible. Everyone knows it. Not so much the last couple of years, because obviously there's been relegations and first division stuff. But if you asked any player from League of Ireland player from the last 10, 15 years, they hated coming to Turner's Cross, and they hated having to play running into the shed because they knew what was coming to them. And I think that's been back this year. I think I commented in the video actually that Bows away 2 weeks ago was the best away crowd I've seen in a long, long time. And that travelled into Waterford. We were actually saying in the tunnel, I was talking to Tim and I was talking to Anna Buckley in the tunnel, and I was kind of saying the shed was full really early on Monday, and it was really loud from long before the teams even came out to warm up, and that 100% has an effect, because when the shed's going like that, as great as the shed is, it carries over to the other part of the stand and to Derry. Like, it fills the whole stadium, and people, it spreads, the energy spreads, and it's class. That's why people talk about Turner's Cross in such a positive light, and that was a perfect example of it on Monday.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Obviously, the last minute winner helped as well, but the atmosphere in itself was very good as well.
That was unbelievable. The last minute winner. Yeah.
One of the best moments. To be honest, I would actually have that up there as one of the best moments.
You catching the ball was probably the best moment.
Sorry, that was definitely the best moment yet, but the last minute winner against Waterford was up there with the best moments.
Yeah, thanks. No, I have no more questions. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, no question for us City fans, although was not following City back in 2017 when Johnny Caulfield was managing Cork. So I'm not going to say a word about this. I'd rather leave you guys to comment. Was he unfairly pushed out of the club at the time, Aaron?
I probably won't say too much on it, just being a staff member and I worked there at the time. But he was obviously the most successful manager in the club's history, the all-time top scorer as well. So there's nobody going to argue that he did a bad job at the club. He was incredible manager. And you look at what he's doing now at Galway, he's obviously a very good manager, but was he forced out, pushed out? I don't know. At the time, if you think back, at the time, like, it was a mutual decision. It wasn't a case of him being sacked or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know about that.
We don't have Dylan. Look, I think you need to come out as a Cork fan, so maybe you have something to say about this.
Well, I don't know how, like, it just gradually happened that I have a Cork City hat that I got one day, and then I got the Ashley Man point another day, and then this one just randomly ended up there. I think a lot of KFC fans have that. Did I buy it?
Did you buy those did you get those were you like a Cork City fan back in the day before football came to the kingdom?
It's a well-known fact.
By the way, I seen John's comment by the way saying down with the. I seen John's comment by the way saying down with the kingdom, and as a dub, I agree. So apart from soccer, I like the soccer club, but Kerry GEA David Clifford can get FUCKED.
What are you saying, Aaron?
Every Kerry FC fan before Kerry FC existed was a Cork City fan. That's a well-known fact.
Well, yeah, no, I won't even try it. Like, when you came down, like, we didn't have any rivalry with you, like, because we literally went to the cross.
There's no rivalry. I don't think there'll ever be a rivalry, to be honest, unless Kerry end up like.
No, you are too clear about the fair. I think like we can get something out, treat you like a rivalry, and even cope. But I think you are. It's just a shambles if we.
We're like the big brother.
Yeah, go. No, I don't know how all that stuff got there. I spent my hard-earned money on it though. I'm trying to get a jersey from every league of Ireland ground. So I have a Cove one as well in the drawer, or in the wardrobe. There's Bohemians, Galway United. Like, there's some random ones in there. Like, I might try to pick up a Bray one tomorrow. I'll never get a treaty one though. I don't know where it comes from. Just a hatred of Limerick. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Really, I wouldn't like. I'm only new enough to the league, to be honest. KFC when I really started getting into, like, the first time I watched the League of Ireland team play properly was Rovers in Europe, I'd say. So I wouldn't even know much about Caulfield in Cork, except for reading articles online and about how Cork had to turn off floodlights to avoid going bankrupt and selling the club for €1 and all that stuff like that. But no, I really don't have an opinion on John Caulfield's fuck. I don't know. It's me though.
No worries, yeah. Dylan, you are the other Cork City fan. Do you want to say your opinion of how Johnny Caulfield was pushed out at the club at the time, if he was pushed out?
Personally, I don't think he was pushed out. Honestly, that's all I have to say. Just from my perspective, I just don't think he was pushed out. But I have one more question for Aaron, actually.
So, yeah.
Do you have any updates on Rory Keaton's injury situation?
No, to be honest, I kind of find out about injuries when everyone else does in press conferences. But yeah, look, Tim said he's out for 6 to 9 months. He just had surgery as well, so that's the latest I have on it.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Right, so let's move to a bit behind the schedule. Let's move to Monday games. And we start with Cork. Yeah, why not? So that was some result. And I almost had a heart attack when I saw it happening. I was not sure if I would be here today, but I am, with a big smile. So, Cornell, you're also smiling, so I will pass the ball to you.
Yeah, this was like one of the best games that I've ever seen. I mean, look, Cork City 2-1 winners, absolutely fantastic. The same Cork City that we've been speaking about, that they haven't, that when are we going to see Cork City get back to their very best? When are we going to see Cork City, really start turning the style and really start doing what they do best, and really learn that they have to cope without the likes of Keating and the likes of Maguire? And our answers were answered, and absolutely pure attacking football. Ebiang, obviously, I mean, since coming from the French league, he has really adapted very, very well to Cork City's back line. Obviously, I think, to be honest, Ebiang, obviously, from converting from a centre back to being in central midfield, I think it shows his huge progression of how well he's gone. I thought he was really fantastic to watch. But Kaal Sullivan, honestly, Kaal Sullivan is just outstanding, brilliant player, who would just be, as I said, previously on this podcast right now, that he is the next generation and the next future to really go forward throughout his career. As for Waterford, since they got rid of their manager Keith Long after 6 defeats, in the League of Ireland this new season, it hasn't really gone well for them. And obviously, we all thought that the new signings that they had of Coyle and Oberlenka, obviously from 2 graduates from Arsenal football team in the Premier League, would really help them and get them off this, get the Waterford fans really having so much of a fantastic season. But it hasn't really worked. Almond, as the experienced striker that he is, can score goals and headers, but we haven't seen the very best of him. And I think it's really, really worrying. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Waterford responds and what type of manager that they will bring to Waterford. And they can't just go in and bring any manager or head coach to Waterford, because it's about getting the best out of these players. You've got new signings like Dara Power in there, who obviously we hardly hear and see. But again, Cork City do what they always do, and that is the Cork City we have been waiting for. This is the Cork City that we want to see. Yes, with Daniels in there, it's going to be better, but they need another striker just to really say that they'll be up there this season, as despite the injuries haven't really been going their way. But this is the Cork City we have been waiting for, we've been asking for, and we have been waiting for Cork City to really turn up and turn up with a fantastic performance. But I'm very, very pleased with Cork City and their performance and how well they played.
Dylan, were you at the cross?
Yeah, the first half was basically 50-50. But straight from the second half, Waterford scored a fluky tap-in, like typical Waterford. But this is like the second the goal was scored, Cork City were all over Waterford. Like we had multiple penalty calls, but in the end we got it in the 89th minute, and McLaughlin scored it. But everyone in the shed was saying, like, after the first goal for Cork, that we're going to win it. And after some gorgeous footwork from Kaal Sullivan, Kenneth hit in top corner. And a lot of people invaded that pitch. And yeah, this is a typical derby, and we love it.
Matt, you mentioned when you were analyzing the game at the derby moment that Cork would have recovered their confidence. Was that something that displayed in the last minutes with the Waterford at the cross?
Potentially. Now, the Cork cast might be able to back me up, because I didn't watch the game, which was probably a bit stupid of me because Bow's match was earlier. But yeah, again, Kaal Sullivan made a real impact. I thought, just from the brief kind of highlights I might have seen on LOI TV and stuff like that. But I thought overall, look, it was a very good response. as I say, the confidence built up from the good, albeit not enough performance of Bowes, especially coming in with like no striker, basically signing a lad on the same day of the match, or like at least announcing it. Look at yes, in the short term right now it's a fantastic win for Cork. And definitely give them a heap of confidence, but I'd be worried. I'd be very worried. Again, like the fact that they're relying on Daniels to I think that's his name, to basically carry them, Daniels and Sullivan. I'd be very worried if once Daniels leaves in July, then it's like, what's going to happen then? Because Keating's out for the rest of the season, Maguire's out for the rest of the season, as far as I know, or at least until like the very end. So I'd still be quite worried for Cork in terms of relegation. How much can that at the moment very thin squad carry them? I'd still be quite worried, but I think definitely great win, obviously Munster derby victory for Cork, and look, as for Waterford, a period of transition, but look, hopefully their former manager can see the light, if you know what I mean, and come home.
Yeah. Now on to you, Aaron. I'm going to do a 2-in-1 here. So first, of course, I want to know your impressions of the game, and I would like to understand how can you cope, because you are working while you are watching the game as a fan. It's one of those games that it's hard to make it compatible.
Yeah, it's kind of chaos, to be honest. But this year, I suppose previous years, working would have been a lot of doing the live stream and producing the LOI TV stream as well, which isn't our job this year, or not to the extent as it was the last few years anyway. So a little bit easier to cope in that regard, but as a fan, to try and sit there and be calm and be professional when you're losing the derby isn't the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, look, 2 late goals, unbelievable. From a work point of view, great content. Like, it kept social media very happy for a couple of days. But yeah, no, brilliant to win that in the manner it was done as well. Not good for the heart, as you were saying earlier, but enjoyable. It's kind of what derby games are all about. So yeah, it's brilliant. I'm going to have to drop off, lads. So I will have to leave you. Thanks for having me. One thing I will say, actually, just to clarify something, Seanie Maguire isn't out for the season. He'll be back relatively soon. And yeah, City are massive and all that jazz. Munster is green, all that crack.
Thanks very much.
The only thing blue about Munster is Cork City's training gear. So nice one for having me on, and I will talk to you later on. Thanks, lads.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, thanks very much, Aaron. Take care.
What a legend.
So we're gonna move to the other hidden Cork City fan here. Look,
I need to get rid of that time very lively. Yeah, while that was going on, Barry Coffey was scoring goals in Mount Tuck Park. So, yeah, some things never change, I suppose. So, it took some effort by Cork City. Like, I didn't even see it, I just saw it on live score. And I saw the highlights after, and like a half full Turner's cross was absolutely mental, like, fair play to them. No, I didn't even know what to say about the game, to be honest now. Kerry losing is one thing, but when Cork City win, it just makes it worse. So you can all take that as a win in yourselves, I suppose. But I think Waterford just really need to find some improvement, because they have some tough games now coming up. Like, there's no easy games in the league, except I think if Cork can get a win against Sligo again, they'll be flying. Like, they're only 10 points off the number 1 spot, I think. So it's a very tight what is this? It's a very tight division, to be fair. The first division's a lot bigger of a gap. Like, Kerry FC, they're only 6 points off playoffs, but they're way away from first. Like, Dundalk have just taken off, and even Brain Cover in a league of their own as well. So I think I heard Aaron speak of separating divisions into leagues of their own, kind of thing, like 3 different sections, and I get that. But I think for Cork City, they can really drive on, and same with Waterford. Like, Waterford have some capabilities, really, that we've seen over the last few years from first division. Like, they struggled to get out for a while. And then a Conor Parsons wonder strike sunk Cork City back to the first division. So they're well capable, both teams, but hopefully Cork City we see next year.
That was a shocking result for me. Probably Matt, but I think Rovers are not expecting to lose at home. Matt, how did you see this victory, other than being, of course, delighted?
Oh yes, I am actually delighted. That man behind me, watch out for him. Watch out for him. I'm telling you, he was brilliant when he came on. Look at to get your first professional goal in a Dublin derby, absolutely fantastic. He was a forced sub as well. Conor Parsons came off with an injury. I've just seen, I think he might be out this Friday against Pats, which is a huge blow for us. But I thought we were much better improved from against Cork. One thing I will say though is we didn't start with a striker up front. We started with James Clark up front, which basically left us short change. We had no striker, and what that meant for us anyway was pretty much like John Mountney was coming up front. If anyone saw the game, he was coming up front to like basically swing crosses at one point to like go for goals. Unfortunately, that meant that we were shortchanged at the back. Josh Honahan and what's his name, Michael Noonan, took advantage of that and scored two very cheap goals. I thought Devoy was very bad in the tackle for the first goal. Now he was on a yellow card. I think he just wanted to remain on the pitch, but that cost us in the first half. But the second half, look, we were much better. Rovers were very lackadaisical, I thought. But when Colin Whelan came on, I thought that was the difference maker, realistically, and when Buckley came on as well. And the reason being, we had a striker, which meant that Mountney was no longer needed up front. He could sit back, defend, and it worked. And I wasn't at the game, but what I heard, the atmosphere, like in the away end, was brilliant. Look, I'm obviously very happy. I'm happy for Tierney. I'm happy for Brennan in particular. You know, again, his first professional goal coming in a derby. Look, I'm delighted for the kid, and look, I thought he's been brilliant when he's come on. Against Derry, he was very good, I thought. Against Rovers, he was brilliant. And definitely, if we put the performance, I know we're not on to the previews yet, but if we put this performance in as Pats, we might be able to actually take something out of the game. But that was one of the best Bowls performances that I've seen in a long time. Unfortunately, we just parted like the Red Sea in the last 15 minutes of that first half. But apart from that, look, that was one of the best displays by Bowls I've seen, especially that last 20 minutes. It was a fantastic display. I think having Bucko on the pitch was fantastic in terms of leadership. Having a striker on the pitch was fantastic in terms of, all right, now the striker could do his job, the defender could do his job, and we could just kind of organise things a little bit. And I think it paid off in the end. And it's always nice to get one over the scum. It's nicer even to get two over them. So yeah, it's buzzing. And Dublin is brown black.
Comment here from Dave. Well played by Bowes. 20 minutes left and down by 2. Incredible resiliency. I turn to you, Cornell.
Yeah, this was one of my best favorite games ever watching. Obviously, Bohemians was incredible to watch, and their performance was outstanding. To be 2 goals down and to come back to level it 2-2 and then to get the winner in with 20 minutes left. And look, it was just fantastic. Like Bohemians showed the true resilience of not giving up, even if they were 2-3 goals down. But look, at the end of the day, Bohemians showed what they are really about. Shamrock Rovers, yeah, of course. I'll be real that obviously Bohemians didn't really play as well as they expected because basically, Houlihan and 16-year-old Michael Noonan took advantage of that. And, look, Shamrock Rovers are the team that nobody doesn't want to be playing at the moment, despite their, they were on the run of 5 wins and 1 draw. But look, at the end of the day, the way that I'm seeing it at the moment is that, look, Bohemians really, really played really, really well. When you got Tierney in there, when you've got Denvoy in there as well, it's just an absolute handful. And I think the subs made a huge difference as well to Bohemians winning as well. And I think they need to just carry on playing the way they're playing and really show that their real quality, because they are a very, very good side and they have got fantastic players, but the players just have to show that class and keep showing that quality, and instead of relying on just Rossa Tierney to bail them out, or on Denvoy to bail them out in situations when Bohemians are not doing so well. Because I mean, the quality that they have is unbelievable, and I do feel that. Like I said, Shamrock Rovers, I think they've done well this new season. Out of the 5 games, I still believe they'll be around the title, obviously challenging for the League of Ireland title. I think anything is possible for them in trying to win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title. But honestly, look, Bohemians, I think, are the most talked about, are the talked about team that everybody is talking about. So, I'm very, very pleased for Bohemians, and they really deserve to really crack on with their season.
Dylan, I can see that you are eager to comment this game. You even put your glasses, so maybe there's something wise to tell about it.
I watched the first half of the game. I think, give me 1 second. I think, 2 brilliant solo goals from 16-year-old, one from 16-year-old Michael Noonan. Slotted perfectly into the bottom corner. It was gorgeous. And Josh Honan, player. Rovers were brilliant in the first half, but in the second half they fell apart, and Brennan broke Rovers' hearts in the Dublin derby. Really.
Anything from your end, Luke?
Yeah, again, I was only just following it on my phone. It was on before the Kerry City game, so it was just mad to actually see. We were just waiting in the press box, just waiting around, chatting around about the League of Ireland in general, and someone just says, "Oh, Bohemians are after going ahead." We couldn't believe it. So, it's a great thing to have happened, and that Rovers have lost twice to them now. I don't think Rovers lost once, I think, in between the 2 Bulls games. That was just the Sligo Rovers. But besides that, they were definitely on a march towards the top of the table. So Bohemians, like I said to you last week, that teams are well capable of performing in derbies. I think we've just seen that there. So I think Bulls will definitely be happy with this result, and it might be enough to just spur them on for the rest of the season, or for the next few weeks maybe.
Question here from Conor Barry. Is Howey gone? Yes, he is. He's a very busy man, as we know.
Unfortunately.
Social media, it's not a little job. So what we have after here, we have a nil, I think, a nil between Drogheda and St. Patrick's. It's interesting because Shelburne didn't manage to get to 3 points, St. Patrick's neither. Rovers, they were the exception, which maybe that's an indicator for the rest of the season. Cornell.
Yeah, I think this was a game that had a draw written all over it. Obviously, St. Pat's wanted to go on and win this game. Drogheda obviously wanted, to really stand their ground and show the underdog team that they are. But I think a draw was basically the right result for both teams, because obviously St. Pat's are still struggling without Aidan McKenna, despite that Mason Meany has the chance to step up. Drogheda, a team that is that is top of the table and has everybody talking. Can they go on and challenge and and shock the whole world of the League of Ireland and League of Ireland fans and go on and win it. You know, look, I think at the end of the day, we all know that obviously the likes of St. Pat's and Shelburne and Shamrock Rovers are favourites for the title, but I think we can't be underestimating underdog teams like Drogheda, who've been there and done it. You know, they've shown why they are the underdogs. They've shown how fantastic they can be, you know, bringing youth out of the youth academy. You know, you can clearly see how well Keith Doherty has done, you know, to really manage this team and to really make the players in the Drogheda United team believe that they can be a success and they can be a huge team that can really underdog team that can really make something special and really stand up to big and small teams. But this result, obviously, I think was the right choice. And, you know, I think, look, Drogheda, you know, they're going into the top of the table, you know, as potential possible challengers / winners, you know, with the games that they've got coming up very, very soon, you know, with the likes of Galway, Sligo, Cork, Shamrock and Derry. But again, I think this game was a game for the taking. I think maybe St. Pat's will probably feel that maybe they should have won this game and they should have, you know, beaten Drogheda United. But I think, look, a draw was the very valuable result for both teams.
Dylan, any thoughts on that particular game?
I wasn't watching it, but as Cornell said, Edna written all over it because it's two huge teams going in the title race. But I have nothing really on the game.
Yeah. Look, anything you want to add when it comes to this draw between the two title contenders at this point in time?
I think what it was really is like St. Pat's were contenders from the start. So I think it's the favourites from the start against team who's just risen from the depths, really. So I think this was a really interesting thing just to determine how Drogheda are going to go about the rest of their season. And like to get a 0-0 against favourites early is a really big step again for them. Like they got draw against Shelburne just a few days prior. So I mean the Dublin teams are really the big teams to watch out for, as well as Derry. So to be able to get 2 draws and 2 games against them, like that's really just showing that you can close out games. And obviously you're looking for 3 points, but when you're playing against the biggest teams in Ireland, you definitely won't complain for a draw.
Seems that people are missing Howey. Yeah? We have a lad from Donegal asking what happened to Howey. He's just a busy man, but I'll try to bring him back to the show maybe in the next month or 2. Sorry, was saying something, Dylan?
What?
I said relegation party when Howey comes back next.
Oh my God, Luke. Everything never.
Matt, do you think Drogheda would be happy with this result, or would they expect to win, thinking that we're playing at home?
Interesting one. They'll be happy again. Like they're still top as far as I know. So like obviously, anything that keeps them top, I suppose they'll be happy with, especially considering where they were at the start of the season. I didn't think they'd be top again. I don't think any of you thought they'd be top. But I think look, it's like I think Drogheda will be happy in terms of where it leaves them. Like they're still top at the moment. I would say at the moment, like Pats, would I be disappointed? They're second. But so Pats could have really gone top with a win. So I'd say look, Drogheda I think would be the happier team here in terms of the draw as opposed to Pats. I don't think, you know, Pats will be happy at all with the draw, especially considering it leaves them second as one of the title contenders. Like, you know, obviously Keena, look at Keena, Melia, like there's a good Pats side in there. Look, Drogheda have been exceptional. They have been really and truly, but I do think like I'm not going to pretend I know anything about the game because I didn't watch it or anything. But what I will say is that Drogheda will be happier. Drogheda will be happier than Pats.
Another draw here. Shelburne 2, Galway 2. If I would be a Shelburne fan, I would expect more from the team, especially that Galway just have lost at home with Derry. Would you would have the same perspective if you would be a Shells fan? Look,
like Shells scored in the very first minute of that game, and eventually they went up 2-1. So I think they would have been comfortable enough if they just held out for 2-1. But I think they scored 86, 87th minute then. So for that to have happened then must have been really just kicking the teeth really for them. But yeah, if I was a Shells fan, I'd be very disappointed. But like Galway are a really strong team, and like I said, they play dirty football. Like they don't get involved in too high scoring contests except for that 9-1 against Kerry. But I think just in general, Galway have really strong potential, and like you're looking at how quickly seasons can change. Like with teams who are newly promoted, like first division teams like Waterford and Cork City, like they'd be looking for just scraps draws, but like Galway are just like cruising along and they're comfortably getting draws against the likes of Shelburne. So as a Galway fan, I'd be really happy to get an away win against Shelburne, but for Shelburne to score in the first minute and concede in the 87th minute, I'd be a bit disappointed about that.
a comment here from Finarps FC. Galway playing Horgan Bow. Divan, do you want to pick this comment?
Galway against Shells. Galway put up a fight, especially Moses Dyer with that gorgeous box. But as Luke said, Shelburne should be very disappointed to concede in the first minute and then concede the 80s. I mean,
Matt, how far can Galway finish this season? How far, or how much in the top?
I think in terms of Galway perspective, again, they're really happy with that draw. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I can't tell you kind of one way or another. I know I have done my homework, lads, but I think Shells will be very disappointed again in terms of the fact that they're scoring like within the first 2 minutes or whatever, and they're coming away with a draw. And again, this is a game which they dominated on the stat sheet. Like I think they had like 70% possession or something. They're more of the shots. Again, most of them actually off target, which, like from a Shells point of view, you'd be worried. For Galway, though, to come out with a draw, obviously they'd be happier with that, considering they were dominated by Shells throughout the game. Just looking at the stat sheet and stuff like that. So, but I think this Galway side does have potential. It really does. I think, it does really have a good potential about them. But Galway would be happy with this right now, and I think survival is the bare minimum, and definitely they can challenge for Europe. In my eyes.
Cornell, anything from your end?
Yes, a brilliant game all around. Galway United, a team that who was unbeaten throughout the whole of this new season, has really shown the quality, and they're picking off where they left off from last season. A team that basically missed out European football last season now is really capitalizing on that European place, and they are the reason why they are the team that no one doesn't want to be playing. Galway United, Moses Dyer has been in wicked form this season. 5 goals this season in 10 appearances for Galway United. Absolutely on fire right now, leveled with the likes of Owen Eldon and Aidan Kinner as well, with 5 goals. But at the end of the day, I think it just shows that Galway United are the best fantastic team going right now. As for Shelbourne, I think this is 2 points drop for Shelbourne, and I think they'll be very disappointed that they are they didn't go on and find a way to go on and win the game. I mean, yes, probably they might feel that a point is the valuable point, but again, I think this is an opportunity that they missed out on, and I think they'll be regretting that. But we can't underestimate how fantastic Galway United have been this season, and why they are not the team that no one can't be playing this season, and why they are showing the big teams and small teams that they can really match them. They are the team that really excites a lot of League of Ireland fans, and they've shown that it's not about being a small or a big team. It's about the togetherness. It's about the resilience. It's about the winning mentality that the manager that Caulfield has. It's about the sustainability. It's about playing your best players, and that's what Galway United is about, and why they are the reason that they are the team that will finish in the European places from now to the end of the new season.
So the last one from Monday is for me a surprise. I would be expecting more from Sligo, given that they hammered Waterford 4-0, but it seems that Derry is back on track, Matt.
Yeah, look, Sligo have been getting battered and bruised basically everywhere they go, bar what's it called? Bar that game against Rovers and that game against Waterford. Look, I'd say, I'm very disappointed from Sligo's point of view in terms of the fact they bet Waterford 4-0, albeit a pretty poor Waterford side. I thought, look, again, didn't watch the game, but I think Derry will be very happy. They're on a decent little run at the moment, and look, I don't think they'll win the league. I don't think they have the ball for it, but at the moment, look, they're on a good run, and like there's a reason they're not considered favourites, because they don't have the ball for it, in my opinion. Like, they nearly let lead slip against Galway, but overall, no, I think good result for Derry, and Sligo will be bitterly disappointed. I feel like there's so much talent to that Sligo team. I know the likes of Alice Chapman, for example, left. Jaddy Kiki, for example, like, I was expecting far more from him to make far more of an impact. Look at Sligo would be bitterly disappointed, and I think it's straight back down for them.
Comment here that I want to pick, and I want Dylan to comment, if you don't mind. Evening, gents, and so good friend John. Sligo, we finished 10th. They're absolutely dreadful.
I couldn't agree more with that. Sligo has shown great talent in the few games they've played, but like, what was it? Drawing in the cross against us, and way more results than that. But they're just not doing enough compared to other teams. I can see them finishing dead last in the table.
Is it also your perspective, Cornell?
My thoughts of Sligo Rovers, I think obviously they'll look at this and think that this is another defeat that they didn't deserve to lose. Sligo Rovers haven't been at their best this season, and why the reason they are where they are in the table in 10th, and obviously could be fighting for their place to really stay up. I mean, yes, since losing the likes of Ellis Chapman, who's now gone on to Shelburne, who's been playing absolutely well and adapted very well to the League of Ireland, we haven't really seen the very best of Sligo Rovers, and why the reason they are where they are in the table. It's not the very best position that they want to be in, but at the end of the day, I think you have to understand that John Russell is under serious pressure, and Sligo Rovers are under serious pressure. As for Derry City, Gavin White, are we going to see that and obviously accept that Gavin White is coming in to be the best player of the League of Ireland? I think so. I think, you know, we're seeing the very best of him. Yeah, at the start of the season, he did fail to get going, and we questioned Gavin White. You know, really, you know, coming from England to come into the League of Ireland is very, very difficult. But I think it's about giving experienced certain players time to really adapt to the League of Ireland and also find ways to really go about their game. But again, I think 3-0 win against Sligo Rovers for Derry City, I think, was a fantastic result. They played really well. They played some brilliant attacking football. Sligo Rovers were just, you know, second best. And I mean, look, I mean, Jay Hackey, I mean, he's one of the best players, you know, in that team. Owen Eldon at the age of 19 years old, you know, obviously Helgeson turned up as well, you know, which was brilliant to see Helgeson, you know, turn up and really be impressed with the likes of Hackey and Owen Eldon. And I am really, really praying that those two really get into the Irish international team, because I think Eldon and Hackey will have so much of an impact in the first starting 11 for Ireland. But yeah, I think it's worrying times for Sligo Rovers. But again, I think Sligo Rovers are in serious trouble if they don't look well, if they don't get their acts together and start getting results on the board.
Finally, look, are you ready to travel all the way to Sligo next year? But it seems Sligo will be relegated.
Unless KFC get promoted. No. I'd say I wouldn't mind the trip, to be honest, but I'd say Sligo will come down. Like Cork City only have 5 losses compared to Waterford, and Sligo having 8. So I think Cork City might be safe enough for the time being. Waterford, they're playing. Are they playing Derry next? I think Derry could have another easy game on their hands that can get them a few points. And then they're playing Cork City soon enough. And Cork are well able to play big teams like Bows. 2 years ago, I remember, in Turner's Cross. That was a good game to watch, actually, I think. But yeah, Sligo Rovers, rough time. And I think if they came down, it wouldn't just be straight back up like we saw with Cork City and Dundalk. Like, they might struggle a bit, because if Cove don't go up, like, they're a really strong team, like a Cork City B team kind of thing. And you've Wexford as well. Bray, like, there's way too many strong teams to just have one guaranteed going up. But for Sligo, I think it was Cornell just said there that they need to improve quickly, and that's true. So we'll see how they can go about it. But Waterford really need to just stay at least 9th, and then they need to just push on towards the end of the season. And the next 2 times they face Cork, they need to get results out of it. And yeah.
Right, let's briefly touch on the first division. I know you're a bit behind the schedule. Luke, I think that's your favorite topic, so I'll keep the ball with you.
What do you want me to talk about, just generally, or
just in general, like a couple of sentences? Not much in detail, because they needed nearly 2 hours here.
Yeah. So like Treaty are doing strong enough. They had a good result against Dundalk the last day. Yo-Yo Maddie with a late equaliser. Wexford then went on to beat Treaty comfortably as well. So Wexford are really strong, as we saw them in the cup last year for Dundalk. Just give them the trophy already now and just let the other 9 teams battle it out, really. But like how we mentioned earlier, how divisions split into 3. I think Dundalk, Bray, Cove, and maybe even Wexford are their own league, and then you've Finn Harps, Treaty, UCD is kind of fighting for playoffs, and then for now it's Longford, Athlone, and Kerry at the bottom. But it's such a close division that Kerry FC are just 2 points off Athlone. So Athlone are playing Longford, who are the 2 teams ahead of Kerry. So if Kerry can win, then they're guaranteed to move up the table. And if Longford and Athlone draw, suddenly Kerry are into 8th. And then you're looking at just 2 points off 6th, and then 3 points off 5th. So if Kerry can turn around, they can turn around very quickly. Same with Athlone, Longford, UCD, and Treaty are well within the playoffs. I think 1 to 3 is really strong. Bray and Cove there, so that's their season. They're going really strong. They just have to keep going and hope for now no injuries. So you're looking at Finn Harps then, who are performing as well as you'd expect, really. Like, they got an unreal draw against Dundalk, in fairness, but they beat us comfortably. They got a draw against Wexford, which was a great result. And then they drew to Longford as well, which wasn't really what they'd be looking for. What team haven't I covered now? Longford and Athlone play each other tomorrow in the Midlands Derby. No, sorry, I've got that wrong. Longford are playing Dundalk, actually. So that's an easy enough win for Dundalk, I'd say. And then for Athlone then, just trying to get the fixture up here, they're playing Treaty, sorry. And sorry, yeah, Athlone already played Longford. That was the fixture that was in my mind. But for Athlone against Treaty, the last time that happened, Treaty won 5-0. So to see the progression of the table, just to see if that'll happen again. I don't know, and just in terms of who you lads might be ending up seeing in the Premier Division next year, I think it's looking like Dundalk anyway, going back up. And it's whether Cork City or Waterford are in ninth, and if they're strong enough then to hold on to that spot. I think it's very hard for second place teams to get up. The playoffs are challenging enough for second to fifth, and then to have to play a Premier Division team again, which is fair enough though. Like if you can't beat the worst team in the Premier Division, then what's the point in even being there? So look, I think Bray would be my favourites to be second at the moment, and they are there now. If Dundalk went there, I think it'd be a really competitive race for the title. But I think we're looking at second and third place are the spots to want now, so you get an easier draw in the playoffs.
Comment from John. If Treaty lose to Athlone tomorrow, we'll lose a lot of the fan base. Some people are not happy with what's going on in the club. Dion, would you mind comment this remark from John?
Yeah, Treaty have a huge fan base on TikTok and Instagram, and even locals going to the matches, but they're not getting the points that are needed. Basically, like last match, the Yolo Mandy goal secured them a point. Yeah, but Athlone isn't a team that you want to be losing to, especially in the first division.
Cornell, I'm just looking at Dundalk, and it seems that they won 2 out of the last 4 matches, and those two matches they won 1-0. So are they really dominating the league, or they're just slowing down?
I think Dundalk is dominating the league now, and they are on absolute and amazing wicked form that we haven't seen for a very, very long time in the first division. Cork City's vow was to, when they got relegated last season from the Premier Division, was to go into the first division and to really make a statement and say that they are willing to really get back to the Dundalk that we haven't seen for a very, very long time. Daryl Horgan, a very quality player, good, fantastic young stars that are in the Dundalk team have really stepped up and really shown that they are a quality team. And look, at the end of the day, I think Dundalk, are the team that no one doesn't want to be playing this season, and I think they are a huge underdog team that are really showing that they are a team that can really achieve greatness this season. And I think they can, if they can carry on that type of performance and carry on playing the way they're playing, I think it's going to be questionable. Can Dundalk stay unbeaten? Can they carry on that form? I believe they can, and I think they've got the team, they've got the quality, they've got the class, they've got the manager, to like Kieran, to get behind them and to really motivate the young players and the young talents that are coming through. The Dundalk Youth Academy, and obviously it was a lot of pressure which was put onto the team because they wasn't sure what was going to happen to the club before even the start of the League of Ireland First Division got underway. But the chairman of the board, the board of Dundalk, and of course the manager has found a way to make sure that they can really get back to the Dundalk that we were missing from last season. And right now we're seeing that already. And I think the more times that they get onto on their best performance, I think we're seeing the new First Division winners like Dundalk really get promoted back to the Premier Division.
Finally, Matt, if you want to add anything on the first division, just a brief overview, if you don't mind.
Well, first and foremost, the elephant in the room. Dylan, you're wearing a half and half scarf, so your opinions are now henceforth invalid. Secondly, I was speaking with Ben today, actually, in Edmonton, and he basically said to me, like, they've drawn their last 2 games. They're only 3 points clear of Treaty. I think are in second, or Bray in second.
Right.
I haven't checked the first division. Bray.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke. Or should I say, cheers, Kerry the Cup. But I'm starting to think Jamie, he does the TikToks. He's put Kirsten and talking about how they're possibly the best first division side ever. Since then, they've drawn their 2 games this weekend, which I'm not sure if Jamie's just a secret agent or whatever. But look at, I think, the first division definitely looks interesting. Kerry, did Kerry win the weekend or no?
That's a fairly safe answer.
Down,
normally, just dances normally no. Yeah.
Down with the kingdom. But look, no, I'm not going to pretend I know anything about the first division because I don't watch it on a regular basis. But bad times for Dundalk, and
Okay, let's move to tomorrow games and Saturday. I think Cork City plays Saturday. If you can.
Yeah, we do. We play Sligo away.
Yeah, Sligo away. Yeah, it's a very it's a vital game for the 2 teams, I'd say.
Yeah.
Let's go game by game. What do I have first?
Am I glitching out, or is there someone talking?
Bohemian St. Patrick's.
Hey lads, I'm gonna head there because I have to go.
Or no.
My opinion on this game is this is a big, massive game for both teams. Bohemians obviously, I think obviously will be very confident going into this game. I think St. Patrick's, obviously looking at this now, I think they'll want to get all 3 points out of this game. But I think Bohemians will come in with confidence after beating Shamrock Rovers, not once but twice, which they have done, this new season. And I think everybody's talking about them. I'll be honest, I gave hells on them, and I said I criticized, Bohemians and said, when are we gonna see Bohemians get back to their very best? And here they are. I think they've really listened to my criticism and to what I've said about Bohemians, and I'm very pleased about that. St. Pat's, they're still struggling without Aidan McKinnon goals, who's got 5 goals this season. Mason Melia is having most of the pressure piled on him because I have said that I wanted to see Mason Melia really show his quality and really show his class, and this is the game that he has to show his quality and his class and score the goals and get and be the young star that that everybody's going to be talking about in the League of Ireland, and get St. Pat's fans to really believe in him, believe in Mason Melia, because Mason Melia is still a class quality footballer. He's still, amazing at what he does. And, this is what Mason Melia does. And Mason Melia will I still believe he needs an experienced head to probably come and help him when Aidan McKinnon returns. But I do believe that this is the best is to come from Mason Melia. And I want him to start scoring goals. I want him to really show his class. I want him to show his quality. I want him to show all those St. Pat's fans that he can be a true huge star, future star for the future. He can be that striker that's going to go to Tottenham in 2026 and really show his class, his quality, all what he's learned from the League of Ireland. As for Bohemians, they just have to go with the flow. Result-wise, I would presume that Bohemians could win this game against St. Pat's, but knowing my luck, I believe that St. Pats will win this game, and I think their quality and the squad depth that they have in the team, from the likes of Zebedee to, I mean, of course, Meania, you know, and so on, and Jamie Lennon in the team, and so on. But I think the quality of St. Pat's is just too difficult to really pull away from. So I think St. Pat's will win this one.
Matt, do you think Bows are ready to achieve the third consecutive win?
It'd be lovely. If we play as well as we did against Rovers, I thought we played fantastic against Rovers. As long as we can actually finish, if we had a strike in that first half against Rovers, we would have easily scored a goal in the first half, but we didn't. So, I think if we continue with this progressive sort of play that we saw against Rovers, and we don't do the whole pass around back thing, which really kind of gets me, then I think absolutely we could be in for a very good game. Pats, again, I've been a bit disappointed in terms of like Keena's. I know he's out for a bit. Malia, look, he has a bunch of weight on his shoulders. Forrester doing well, Redden doing well. Look, it's going to be a good game, and if Bows give it 100%, we give it 100% as we did against Rovers, then for sure I think we can get something out of the game. However, I just think for whatever reason, it's going to get to us. We're going to let the win on Monday get to our heads, and I can see us getting something out of the game, but I think Pats will just have enough to edge it. But it should be a decent game. And Derry Men will not miss because I have a match of my own on tomorrow night. But it should be a good game, 100%. And look, I'll be very happy with even a draw or whatever. But hopefully not all 3 points. But at the moment, I think Pats will nick it.
The other thing that it seems to be catching up at this point in time is Derry. Maybe they are visiting Waterford in the right moment because Waterford cannot find their way. Is it another 3 points for Derry, Cornell?
Yeah, I think this game is another 3 points coming Derry City's way. You know, they can be very, very confident going from beating Saloga Rovers 3-0 and now coming into the Waterford game, which realistically Waterford have not been in their best of form. As I say, 6 defeats. You know, that Waterford have suffered, and but at the end of the day, I think Derry City, I think this is a 3-pointer for me, and I think they'll go into this game confidence. They'll go in it with determination, passion. They'll go in there with the full of desire and full of belief, and really go into this game and feel that they can really get 3 points out of it, which I see. And I could see Derry City really being all over them from the first minute. I think the attacking football, I think, will be ones to have a look out for. And I think Derry City are really starting to be the team that we expect them to be. Yes, I think they probably are not in the title race as such yet until, you know, Lynch really susses out his team even more. He susses out his starting 11, susses out what type of formation he wants to play with Derry City. I think they'll be in around the European places, and I think they'll try and challenge for that along with Galway and so on. But I think for me personally, I think this is a 3-pointer for Derry City. Waterford, I think if they can really bring in a manager, you know, and that can really get the best out of the Waterford players and get them back to how they were last season, I think Waterford will definitely be up there. But I think until they can get a new manager that can really suss out what's really going on with Waterford and get Waterford to be the Waterford from last season and get them back to be you know, the best version of Waterford, then I think there's a lot of struggles coming through. But Derry City, I think, are definitely in and around the European places for sure, and I think they'll definitely win. So I think Derry City win for this one.
Similar forecast, Matt?
Yeah, Waterford can't buy a win at the moment. But yeah, definitely, I'd say a good opportunity for Derry to get 3 points here. They'd be massive disappointing for them if they can't. Look at Waterford in period of transition right now. I don't think they've appointed a new manager yet. Look, do I think they made the right decision sacking Keith Long? No. I don't think you should ever sack a manager just based off of form. But what I would say is, like, look, I think, they're playing them at the right time at the moment. This could be an opportunity for a vital 3 points for them to get 3 wins on the bounce. And I think they will. I'm not going to say it's going to be a free 3 points. Waterford will want to be giving everything they can, obviously, impress whoever is potentially going to manage them. But I still think Derry will get the job done 2 or 3-1.
Okay, what else we have here? Galway, Drogheda, the two underdogs are going to meet this weekend. Any favorite, or might end up as a draw, Cornell?
I think this game is calling for another Galway United to show up and show their quality. We're talking about 2 underdog teams. That one team that was undefeated throughout the whole of the new season in the League of Ireland. Another underdog team that is top of the table and having everybody talking. Are they title contender winners, or are they a team that obviously are only just up there for being up their sake? Galway United, a team that obviously I highly rate this new season. Moses Dyer, 5 goals this season. Is on red hot form. He's really adapted very well to the League of Ireland. He's made himself and his impact very, very known. And I do definitely rate him as a player. And I think to come from a different league, that he's always used to playing in the Canadian League, and then obviously to come into the League of Ireland is not easy. It's very, very hard, and it takes time. But right now we're seeing, Moses Dyer be the player that we expected him to be, and that's the reason why he's got 5 goals this season and in 10 appearances this season. And this is why he is on the wicked form that he is. Drogheda, they are going into the May season top of the table with the other games that they have coming, but this game, against Galway United could be an opportunity for for Drogheda to really find a way to go on and get 3 points. You're seeing the performances of Warren Davis, a player that I highly rate, and somebody that I feel that maybe, who could move on to go to the EFL, either League 1s or 2 up there, when the time is right. You got Markey, the creator of the team, absolutely brilliant. You've got Owen Lambie, another player that is in fantastic form. Luke Danielson, one of the best goalkeepers that you ever highly rate, since, I'm not saying that their previous goalkeeper that they had last season, wasn't great. Yeah, he was great. But since Luke Danielson's just really come in right now, they've just been absolutely he's been on top.
John is just asking if we see Drogheda serious title contenders. Maybe Matt, would you mind answer this question in the context of the upcoming game in goal?
I just think Drogheda are having a very good moment. Look at they're top for a reason. They've done the basics right, and they've been very, very good. One thing that would worry me is Europe. I think they're going to get money from Europe and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering, will the fixture congestion kind of get to them? As for the actual, in the context of the actual game itself, look, I'll just put it to you like this. I could go top. I like that top half. I'm looking, he is down to 6th. Everyone from 1st to 6th can be top at the end of the night, if results go their way. So we should be in for an interesting game. You're going to see positions, going up and down. Like I'm looking, we're only 5 points off the title now. I know we're talking about the match, but in terms of the game, look at Galway will be eyeing up a win. They've been looking very good, I thought, and they're scoring quite a good number of goals. Both have a similar goal scoring record, but Drogheda, I'm just looking definitely have a better kind of goal difference. So just on pure kind of form, you'd be looking at a Drogheda win there. But to be honest, I think Galway do have look, I'm not going to pretend I know everything about these teams, but I haven't done my homework as per usual. But I think Drogheda will win this game, probably like 2-1 or something. But it's going to be a good game, I imagine. And will Drogheda sustain top? See, we were top for ages a couple of years ago, and like we were getting comfortable, I'd imagine. So I actually think a similar situation is going to happen to Drogheda. No disrespect, but I think that's what's going to happen. Europe's going to get to them, and it's going to be too much.
Is there a favourite for this Dublin derby in Tabak between the home team and Shelburne? Cornell.
I think this is a very, very difficult game because both teams obviously are the two teams. We're talking about two teams that are going to be challenging for the title from now to the end of the season. We're talking about Shamrock Rovers who came into this new season for them to win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title. Shelbourne is another team that obviously with the winning mentality that they have and that they've been showing this season, despite that they've had a few hiccups of losses and draws and so on. I think they are a team that obviously that will still challenge and try and retain the League of Ireland title. But this game is a big, massive derby. I think we are really destined to see Odebeko and Sean Boyd really play in this game. No disrespect towards Harry Wood, even though like Damien Duff likes to play three strikers really up front. But I think it would be nice to see if I would like to see Boyd and Odebeko really linked together, because I just feel that both of them would be really, really good to playing up front together, and I think they will cause a lot of defenses, a lot of problems. Shamrock Rovers, on the other hand, we're seeing fantastic performances from Matt Healy. We're seeing fantastic performances from Danny Grant, Dylan Watts, best passer in the League of Ireland per se. Yes, they are having struggles, without a striker, which has been the biggest topic, the biggest talking topic, which I do worry that they could be in trouble due to the lack of strikers, of a striker that they don't have. And, obviously they have to wait till the summer holidays to really go in and say, that's why I said, if there was anybody that they had to sign, it's Ofalabi for me every single day, because I feel like Ofalabi would really get them up the top, up where they need to be. But, this game is a massive game. I think this is an open opportunity for Odebeko to score goals, to really cement his time, his time in the Shelburne team. Yes, of course, he can be hesitant going towards goal and when trying to shoot, but I think the more confidence he can be, the more better he's going to be. Shamrock Rovers, again, yes, they're having problems on the wing and having problems in, despite Graham Burke, he's killing it right now. Byrne, obviously outstanding. He's always showing how fantastic he is as a quality right winger. Watts, like I said, best passes in League of Ireland. But again, I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think there's a possibility of a draw for both teams, even though I think Shelburne will want to go on and win this game. But we want to see Boyd and Odebeko really linking up together up front, because they will just cause so much problems for Shamrock Rovers' defence. Shamrock Rovers, they're going to rely on Noonan to basically score the goals. But look, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a draw between both teams.
Matt, would you dare to put your money on this Devon derby, or it's too risky?
Well, I don't gamble anyway, so that's neither here nor there for me. Look, this is as tight as you can get. Like, both are on, like, I think Rovers are 5 goal difference, Shell's on 4. Like, both are level on points. It's the closest game to call. This is, to be honest, too close to really call. It definitely reeks of being a draw. But I know Shells want to come flying out the traps, and I think they will. I think they'll have enough. And I think it's going to be a good game, definitely, and definitely the right choice for a live game. But look, Rose will definitely want to make a statement after that balling against us on Monday. And I think generally speaking, Stephen Bradley wouldn't have been too happy in that second half. Hair dryish treatment, maybe. Who knows? Only Bradley knows, and only the players know. But Rovers will really want to win this game, because back-to-back losses against North Dublin teams just simply is not good enough for a team that's serious about challenging for the league. They've only won 1 derby this season. That was at home to Pats. So look, I'm like, from a Rovers point of view, yeah, you want to win, and they need to win this game. This is a crucial game for them. It's a crucial game for both teams, really. They drew the last time, so at Tolka. Rovers will want to win this one, and want to win this one big, because otherwise, that's 2 losses in a row, both of which were Dublin derbies against North Dublin teams. The fans won't be happy. But I'd be saying this is too close to call, so I'm not even going to make a prediction, because I could get embarrassed or whatever. Actually, no, I will make a prediction. Rovers to win it. Check it. They're gonna be wanting to make a statement and wanting to make an impact, and what better way to do it than against Northside's number 2.
Sligo Cork, and before I ask your insights, just a comment from John on this. He mentions that we can call this game Rio relegation 6-pointer. Cornell.
Yeah, I think this game is a real 6-pointer. I think this will determine where Sligo Rovers and Cork City will be from now to the end of the season. Sligo Rovers haven't been in the best of form. Cork City, same thing. Obviously they've just added Daniels to the Cork City team. I do believe that they need a second striker, just to take the pressure off Kaal Sullivan, because the reliance and the pressure is on Kaal Sullivan to deliver, and that's the reason why he's getting the traction of other clubs, and obviously Crystal Palace looking at him and really looking at his potential of him going to play in the Premier League. Some will say that maybe it's not the best option for him, probably that he needs time, but look at what he's doing for for Cork City. Look at his his class and his quality that he's been showing this season. You've got a young talented gifted player who's just come out of the youth ranks, and he's really showing why he is the future for Cork City. Sligo Rovers, again, same thing with Jay Hackey. Another player that's also brilliant as well, along with Owen Eldon. But this game is a massive game for Cork City, and I think Cork City will go into this game believing that they can get 3 points out of it. And you've got a very good goalkeeper like Troost, who can get you out of very good situations. You've got in brilliant performances from Mbiang. Honestly, again, another centre back, coming from the French league and coming into the League of Ireland is not that easy. It's very, very difficult. You've got Greg Bolju's coming back from injury. Yes, I think, struggling without Maguire and Keaton is not the way that Cork City should go about things. But I think for me, with all due respect, I think this game is calling for Cork City to go on and win this game. And I think if Daniels can get on the goals, yes, I do worry, his deal coming to an end in June, July. I think do worry about that, and you think, well, where are the goals going to come from? This is why I said I think Clancy needs two permanent strikers who can get Cork City back to scoring goals and make them feel the confident team that they deserve to be. But I think, yes, it's not nice to see your best players out of injury, but I think as long as they can get the result and they can get a win, I believe that Cork City will win. So I think my prediction for this one is Cork City win.
Matt, can I rely on Cornell's prediction for Saturday as a Cork City fan?
Yeah, go on, sure. Do it. Sorry. In terms of prediction, yeah, like 6-point relegation. Cork. Okay, I was predicting them to be in and around relegation, and look, I think Sligo will be barely disappointed from Monday, especially after doing so well on Friday night. I think City as well. Cork City will be very happy with the Derby win and their performance against us. Look, I think all signs for me point to a 3-1 Cork City win.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Okay, it was a lengthy show, but I enjoyed it. There was a lot to go through, so I want to thank you guys for the stamina. Let me put it that way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for pulling up with me. Again, like I'm happy to be on as always, but again, Thursdays are really tough for me because I usually have training.
We might do it next week. We might do it on Monday, by the way, because I'll be traveling, but we'll discuss it on the chat box with others. So, guys, thank you very much for the insights, and just want to tell the audience to press those 3 buttons below: subscribe, like, and share. That's how you can help us on the other side. So see you next week, probably Monday or sometime early in the week. So all the best, and talk soon.
Thank you very much.
All the best. All the best. Good night, Barliv. Good luck.
Thank you.